Well, hello. Mike Mancuso here from the Triangle East Chamber of Commerce, and this is our next edition of the Connection Point. And today we are honored to have Alison Gammage with us from My Kids Club in Selma, North Carolina. And we appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning. How you doing?
Delighted to be asked. Delighted.
So to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How did you land here in Johnston County? And we'll go from there.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, as people can tell, as soon as I say two words, I'm not from around here. I'm originally from Britain. I hail from a small town which is called Woodbridge. It's on the east coast of England in Suffolk, and looks a lot like Johnston County and a lot like North Carolina. Which is why back in the day when people first left Britain to come to America, a lot of folks from the southeast of England came to North Carolina. So there's some strong historical links as well that's been fun to discover. I grew up in a very rural environment, so again, a lot like Johnston County. And then I became a teacher, and I worked inner cities, and I worked with schools that were struggling in underserved areas. And in 1996, it sounds funny to say 19 anything these days, 1996, I'd been teaching for a while, and I realized I really didn't know enough about how children truly learned, and I came to American University to do a master's in special education for 1 year. And then I was going to go straight back home and put it all into practice. And then I got offered a position at a wonderful school. And I thought, I'll take another year so I really know this. And then one became 18, 19, 20. And then I was in DC all of that time. And just 8 years ago, I was offered a position at a school in Raleigh and became their head of lower school. I had a passion for putting brain-based learning and twinning that with curriculum development to ensure that curriculum is both research-based and works, but also equitable in every sphere. And so that's what I was doing. And that's what brought me to North Carolina. And then I had a conversation with one of our board members called Thad Woodard, who they were looking for a new director for My Kids Club. And a parent that I worked with had suggested a conversation with me. I might know somebody. And at the end of the conversation, I was hooked, and I really wanted to come and lead My Kids Club and work within Johnston County with a new population of students who had different needs.
Well, and we're so glad to have you here. So tell us about My Kids Club. I think it's one of the best kept secrets here in Johnston County, and we need to get the word out.
No, thank you. It it is a standalone organization. We're a nonprofit 503(c). We have existed since 2019. Previously, the organization was the Boys and Girls Club and worked out of Selma Elementary School. There was a standalone building, which a lot of people know as the Ag Building. It's been all sorts of things from the middle school dining hall, all the Hornets, the band practice, everything. But unfortunately, that building was destroyed by Hurricane Matthew. In 2019, the organization split with Boys and Girls Club and became independent and is now known as My Kids Club. Very similar mission. The advantage of being My Kids Club is that we have complete flexibility to be able to respond to the needs of the children in Johnston County, particularly in Smithfield and Selma. And so our programming is always responsive to needs community is presenting, and that's been particularly important during the pandemic.
So tell us about the mission and vision of the organization.
Well, our mission is that we want to encourage and empower youth to grow in character and understanding. And to do that, we hold after-school programs at Smithfield, South Smithfield Elementary School, and at Selma Elementary School. When the building was destroyed, Johnston County Public Schools gave us 4 modular buildings, and right now the club runs out of those 4 modular buildings, and we serve all students age 5 to 16 years old. I think it is no secret that Johnston County school system has had a lot of challenges in the last 7-8 years, and children have not been doing particularly well for a whole host of reasons. And so part of our mission is to support students to be able to be academically successful. So we run tutoring support in reading and math. We also run a wonderful STEM program, science, technology, engineering, math, which we do in partnership with some of our key corporate partners, such as Grifols and Novo Nordisk, but also, most importantly, with Johnston Community College, who lend us a professor twice a week to do robotics, and then we're able to build on that and run other programs for the children in all kinds of STEM related fields. And then the last piece of our puzzle is we really want to make sure that our children have exposure to the arts, performing and fine arts, because again, that's something that they do not normally have access to. And we layer into all of that character education, socio-emotional learning, and most importantly, service learning. These are little children who really want to give back to the community as well. And so we just finished a project where we made Thanksgiving cards and Christmas cards to a local senior citizen facility to add a little bit of a smile at these difficult times.
Very good. So how many kids are in the program currently?
We have reduced numbers, so we will have been able to run in-person programming since June. We have a summer program that we run out of our Selma campus. The year previous, we'd also run a summer camp at Smithfield and at Benson, but COVID prevented us doing that. So we have run in person since June, and we reduced our numbers. Now, although the public school has gone back to 100%, we have decided to stay at about 50%. So we are serving approximately 80 students currently at South Smithfield and at Selma. And we also have changed our programming to try and support students who are working remotely. So between 7:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the evening, we run what we would call a remote learning support, which is a little confusing, but it's so children can come into the club, log on to their computer, be present during live lessons, but also get support from counselors to complete work that's been set by teachers. And we're able to liaise with those teachers and with the administrations on our partner schools.
Good. So I know you've got some big expansion plans going on, and you've been very busy here even as we've been in COVID. Can you tell us a little bit about the future for My Kids Club?
We have a fantastically supportive board who, after I joined the organization 18 months ago, said, well, you know, we need a capital campaign because we need a building. So the mission of My Kids Club is integrally linked to the partnership we have with the public school system. So we have public schools all over the country, but particularly all over Johnston County, which are underused in a way. They have fabulous space and resources. And so we work with Johnston County to run our clubs out of those schools, which is what we're doing at South Smithfield. However, we also need a building. So we are going to create a building that's going to replace the one that was destroyed through Hurricane Matthew. It's going to be on Pollock Road. That original building was gifted to the organization, but unfortunately there just wasn't quite enough land to build a new building. And so we have purchased 2 plats right next to it. And we are in the quiet phase of a capital campaign. But I know there's been some press releases where we have had fantastic support from First Citizens Bank, BB&T, Truist, and also the county commissioners, who have got us to a place where I think we are reasonably hopeful that we will have a building in at least cut ground in the next 12 months. And it will be a flagship for my kids club, but most importantly, it will be a community building for Selma, because Selma does not have a building right now where the community can get together and hold an event. It will be not an extravagant building, but it will be beautiful. It will have a lot of light in it, and it will be a great place for students to come. It is designed, again, around the needs of the community, so it will have a state-of-the-art, what we call a design lab, which will host our STEM and our technology section. It will have a large kitchen, so we can work on food and nutrition, and we can hold community meals. It will have showers and laundry facilities, which is something that the children will benefit from. And then the front of the building is what we call flex space, and can have anything in it, and everything will be modular, and we'll be able to move it around to make space as the students need it for whatever activity they're doing. So it's exciting times, exciting times.
It's wonderful. Well, we thank you for your hard work in really getting this thing moving for our community. Anything else you'd like to tell us about your work at My Kids Club? And I'm also going to plant the seed here to now you've been in Johnston County for a while. What's your favorite thing about being here in Johnston County?
That's a great question. Let me answer that one first, because it's the most important, I think, piece of the puzzle. Very selfishly, I love being in Johnston County and working with the community, because it reminds me so much of where I grew up. I spent 18 years in DC, which is a fantastic city, but it's kind of like living in a revolving door. People are always coming and going. And it's wonderful to be in a community where, like in my hometown, everyone's always lived there. So I'm the first person in my generation to go to college. I'm certainly probably the only person in my extended family that will ever leave the country and live in America, because people find it very strange. But yes, I grew up as a child walking down the high street, annoyed at my dad because we could never get anywhere because everyone would stop us and chat. And there's something absolutely irreplaceably wonderful about a small community. I actually went back to my hometown, and I hadn't been in this particular bakery for 13 years. And the lady behind the counter said, "Hello, Alison." It's like, what? She goes, "Oh, you look just the same." And I was like, "Well, I don't, but thank you." But, I guess most people, you do remain the same. Look, I'm committed to working with Johnston County because life for too many students and too many families is too difficult. There are too many people struggling to overcome poverty, and it isn't something you can overcome by yourself. And so I love working in Johnston County because there are a phenomenal number of people with tremendous faith and huge hearts for our mission and what we're doing. And it's a catch-22. It's painful to know how many people who geographically live very close to us have very, very different lives. When we're open with the club, we feed the children breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snack. And the school district food services partner with us to do that. We have children who want 2 or 3 breakfasts and 2 and 3 lunches, and they're not cherry picking what they like out of it. They eat it all up. They're hungry. And we find ways to, push them food in the car when they're picked up and say, "Oh, this was their favorite and we had extra left over," because we're not sure those other children and siblings will eat, and we're not sure those parents are eating. And that's hard to acknowledge that's going on in 2021. And because of the path I've walked and I guess my beliefs about education, I do believe it can empower and change lives. I wonder sometimes what people make of me when they hear me speak, because I sound so different and I look so different. I did not grow up in an affluent background. There were times growing up when I was hungry and my brothers and sisters were hungry. So perhaps that's why it has a particular pull for me. But I also know, because I've lucky enough to have gone to college and studied, that my intelligence, IQ, talent, any acumen I have is not innate to me. It is something I have acquired because of the experiences and support that others have given me. And I think that might be quite hard for some of us to acknowledge, that our merit is not really about us. It's about what others have done for us. And the IQ is not something you're born with, which means for the children who are not doing well at school or successful at school, that's not about them. That's about us and the experiences they've been given or unfortunately not been given. So the idea that my kids club can actually begin to support schools and help make sure children do get those experiences, grow those skills, and to be honest, fill the workforce pipeline so they don't have to have people outside of Johnston County come and fill jobs. But the raw talent we have here can be grown for the future of Johnston County, which is expanding rapidly and has massive opportunity. And the greatest sin would be if our children weren't prepared to be able to take part in that. So that's kind of why I love being in Johnston County, because there's massive potential here for a fabulous community to do something really extraordinary.
Wow. Well, thank you, Allison. I can't thank you enough, first of all, for choosing to come here and lead this effort for our community. You're doing some really heavy lifting for us, and we sure appreciate all the hard work of you and the board at My Kids Club. Anything we could be doing here at the chamber for you, only a phone call away for sure.
Well, you know, I wouldn't have transitioned properly from being an educator to a fundraiser if I didn't make this say, I hope the one thing I can let folks know is if they would like to support My Kids Club, we do press releases when we get marvelous corporate donations. But really what we need is a broad base of community support to be able to build into the future and open up more clubs and serve more children. And that really just means a very simple monthly donation would be amazing. You know, for me as a teacher, didn't have a huge wage, I would probably give up a cup of coffee once a week and turn that into my monthly donation. We have a new website, which is www.mykidsclub.org, and it's a donate button. You just hit it, it goes straight to PayPal. You can also call us or send us anything in the mail, and it's all on the website. But just we would love community involvement. I think is so important. It also helps me tremendously when we're writing grants to be able to say that we really are listening to the community and partnering with the community. And certainly when we get into the last phase of the building, we will be having numerous community events to make sure everybody can be part of this wonderful moment when Selma gets a new building, which they've needed for a long time, a long time.
All right. Well, Allison, thank you so much for your work, and thanks for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking me, Mike. And thanks for everything you do and the support we get from the Triangle Chamber. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Thank you.